Some of the best JRPGs have sequels that never came to America. That isn't because they were bad or because they had no potential. They were locked away through circumstance, risk aversion, with only whispers of their existence coming to us in the days before the internet made the information easily accessible. Just look at Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. Final Fantasy V got skipped until much later. Dragon Quest V and VI all left untranslated until the Nintendo DS. All of the games coming up have fan translations except one. Let's talk about what they are and why they didn't make the cut. Dragon Force isn't just the name of a band, it's also one of the best strategy RPGs from the Sega Saturn, and it had a sequel, Dragon Force 2. Sort of like a fantasy romance of the Three Kingdoms with large-scale battles. Big part of the reason it never made it to North America is the first game was translated by Working Designs, who were swamped with translations already, and had a Lunar Silver Star story complete on the horizon. Not to mention, everyone was already moving on from the Sega Saturn, especially in America. It was also generally thought of as very similar to the first game, not as good, with lower quality sprites and 2D art, so Victor Ireland passed on it, and there wasn't anyone else interested at the time, including Sega. It does have a fan translation, so you can give it a shot and see for yourself. There's also a remaster of the first game for the PS2, which has no English translation. Valkyria Chronicles 3 is a case of a better game, unfortunately not making it to North America. Valkyria Chronicles 2 didn't do as well as Sega had wanted, and not only that, but Western adoption of the PSP just wasn't high enough. This led them to not bring over the third game, which many fans say is significantly better than Valkyria Chronicles 2. Not only better in gameplay, but also in story. The high sales and acclaim it got in Japan was unfortunately not enough to persuade Sega it was worth the risk. Luckily for us, there is a fan translation available on the PSP. I would highly recommend fans of the series go check it out. There are actually a lot of Tales games that never made it to North America, but there was only one that was a direct sequel. Tales of Destiny 2 did not make the cut. If you're thinking, wait a minute, I've played Tales of Destiny 2 in English. This is because Tales of Eternia was rebranded in North America as Tales of Destiny 2. Some say that's because of Masters of the Universe, but Namco claims it was for branding purposes only. Tales of Destiny 2 didn't come over because the sales of the first game weren't great. Combine that with the fact that everyone was getting blown up in NA if they didn't use 3D graphics, and you have multiple Tales games on the PS2 that never made it here. Tales of Destiny 2 sadly has no fan translation, but as of April 2025, fan translation team Lumina Tales has still been working to change that. Mother 3 may be the biggest one on this list, and there's a reason for that. Earthbound has a massive cult following in North America, but that wasn't always the case. According to Reggie Fils-Aimé, Earthbound undersold in North America, but what really killed the idea of localizing the sequel is that it came right at the end of the Game Boy Advance. Nintendo was already moving on to the Nintendo DS at the time, and due to financial risk, some controversial themes, and timing, the dream of Mother 3 in North America died on the vine. This is especially unfortunate because many considered Mother 3 to be a masterpiece of the JRPG genre. We do have a fan translation for this one, so if you haven't already played it, I recommend you do so. Keep an open mind because it has a lot of depth and mature themes. In one of the more egregious moves on this list, Sega only gave us 1/3 of an entire saga. I'm of course talking about Shining Force 3. Shining Force 3 has 3 scenarios packaged as full games in Japan, and only 1 in North America. And that isn't because they combined the scenarios, they modified the end of the first scenario in North America and cut scenario 2 and 3. This happened because Sega Saturn was nearing its end, and for Sega, it didn't make financial sense to localize 2 more games for a system that was on the way out. Sega Sanshiro would be very unhappy about that. All 3 games are fan translated, as is the special premium disc that has 3D models, images, and more. Shining Force 3 is very different from the first 2 visually, but it's highly rated, especially the final scenario. Front Mission 5 wasn't even the first Front Mission game to not get released in North America, but that's because Front Mission 1 and 2 weren't officially translated to English until much later. with 2 not coming here until 2023. According to Front Mission developers in an interview for Dengeki, Square didn't even bother having them prepare Front Mission 5 for localization to begin with. Normally, they would develop with localization in mind. Front Mission 5 relies on knowledge of other games in the series, which at that point had not all been released in North America, so because of that, and because of poor sales of Front Mission 4, Front Mission 5 never made it. Despite having fantastic review scores and fans saying it was one of the best, if not the best game in the series. Fortunately, the fans have saved us here again, as Front Mission 5 does have a fan translation, so you can play it in English. That completes this list of sequels that never made it to North America. There are others, but maybe that could be another video in the future. I think the big takeaway here is that all of these games deserved a little better, but money is the great decider. Whether it's timing, previous poor reception, companies will choose to stay risk-averse even if they've got a potential hit on their hands. For more videos like this covering JRPGs, Western RPGs, and story-based games, subscribe. Thanks for watching.